Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How is everybody tonight? I am simulcasting on YouTube and Bumble. And I don't know if you all saw my thumbnail or not, but Chris Van Hollen had coffee with Brego, what's his name? Garcia. I don't know his whole name. But yeah, imagine that. Yeah, take a look at that thumbnail. Doesn't look like he's had his head shaved recently to me or his beard trimmed off or nothing. He's got himself a ball cap on, looking a little chubby. Looks like he's been eating good. And yeah, he's made it quite the way. So I'm doing it this way tonight because I didn't have I set up a studio. Man, it would take me another hour before I'd go live. But I wanted to go live and talk about this stuff. We got colleges, we got attorneys, we got congressmen, we've got media. I don't know what else I wrote on there. They're all subversives. I mean, whose side are these people on? Whose side are they on? How you doing, KNS Cleanup? Darla, nice to see you. Todd, Colette, nice to see you. I hope you all are having a great evening. Angel's here. Todd's here in red and Todd's in blue. I guess they changed the colors on this. I don't know. Hi, Robin. Nice to see you. Rebecca. Flannel cheese. And I guess you guys can see the chats. Now, I don't know. I think I could put my chats on the other side of the screen. So, wait a minute. I had some people say, I don't like it in landscape mode. The last time I did this, it was in landscape mode, right? And I froze the little man up. There we go. So I didn't portrait mode last time, right? So anyway, I got it on landscape mode. So Andrew's here, a Google account. Wayne is here. Give me a thumbs up. Angela's here. Oh, Angela. Well, I'll try to talk softly. I don't know. I get excited over this stuff. But Chris Van Hollen had coffee with Mr. Garcia. You know, the person who took off in a car with his 1-year-old child, driving like a maniac, had a police report made on him who slapped his wife around, or so-called wife. I still want to know how you get a daggone marriage license when you're in here illegally. I got no idea how that happens. Maybe it's invalid. Who knows? But yeah, then he has the sheriff's department pull him over. He's they said he's engaging in human trafficking. What does that mean? Oh, it might be smuggling some abreos or whatever, essays or whatever in the country. Oh, that's okay. Let him go. Oh, then who tosses drugs underneath the car? Me don't know. Me no speaky. Tom Holmes said, yeah, I looked at his tattoos on his hand, and that's MS-13. High level, no problem. I spotted it like that. So Chris Van Hollen, go over there. Excuse my vernacular, please, folks, but these people, this is what makes them tick. He went over there and pissed and moaned till he got to meet with Alfredo Garcia. How did I get that picture so quick? Lone Wolf, how you doing? A Google account. It said easy, just lied on the documents. I see. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Fraud, right? So how did I get that picture? Because he tweeted it out. Van Hollen tweeted it out. He's victorious. Let me see if I can. Oh, hang on, folks. If you lose me, I'll be right back. I'm experimenting. Hi, Sissy. Nice to see you, Jersey Joe. So let me see if I can read that tweet without kicking myself out of the studio. Let's hope that I can do it. It appears to be working. Chris Van Hollen said, I said, my main goal of this trip was to meet with Kilmar. He's on a first name basis. Tonight I had that chance. I have called his wife, Jennifer, to pass along his message of love. I look forward to providing a full update upon my return. Well, upon your return, it would be very nice to see you put in handcuffs and hauled off to a federal prison for violating the Logan Act. I went ahead and looked up the Logan Act. Remember Tom Holmes said, oh, it's coming, people that are aiding and abetting. But now he can't really be people who are illegally in the country, I believe it says. I don't know. He's, I believe he's under the auspices of a deportation order. What is he doing? He's aiding in this predatory incursion, is he not? Is there a conflict between certain members of Congress and the administration? Can you say this is his official duties if he's violating federal law? What does the Logan Act say? What does the Logan Act say? Let me look that up. I have to get to where I can, takes so much time to set up a studio in the manner to which you are accustomed. But anyway, I will sally forth. Oh, how does that work now? Anyway, the Logan Act is pretty particular, pretty easily read. Oh, with all this hubbub going on, did you know that the Christian pastor who got abducted, kidnapped by armed men during a church service in South Africa? Remember him? And I showed his picture. U.S. citizen kidnapped in South Africa. You remember South Africa? Nelson Mandela and the fists in the air. Fannie Willis's father. Oh, what a wonderful day. Now they're in poverty, squalor, human rights violations, ethnic cleansing of people with light skin. Well, they saved him. He was rescued. I don't know if he's injured, but he is reportedly alive after a shootout with these desperados over in South Africa. Chris Van Holland, why didn't you get your ASS over there? You didn't say a word about that, did you? You didn't say a word to that grieving mother who took over the press conference, unintentionally dominated it with her heartfelt story, but very descriptive of what happened to her daughter. It was so descriptive and heartfelt that CNN cut her feed. They didn't even broadcast all of it. I have the whole press conference where she spoke. But I believe it would get taken down if I put it up on YouTube. She described the horrors her daughter endured from a Maryland woman. Senator Van Holland, you bum. So anyway, back to the original notion, which was to see what the heck is going on And anyway, I'm glad that this individual was rescued. No thanks to Senator Van Hollen. I got this post from Midas Trash Network. That's how I got it. They popped it on YouTube real quick. Some of the comments of their fans, these mentally deranged fans of Midas Trash Network. I'm so happy he's alive. Wait a minute. Are you talking about the pastor? No, they're talking about Logan Garcia. I'm a little confused about his appearance, though. I'm happy and relieved that he looks well. But did they dress him up? ? He certainly doesn't look like the other prisoners that the puppy killer stood in front of and spewed her BS. Puppy killer. Oh, talking about Christy Noem, or whatever. Hope he comes home soon. What did another lunatic say, Lefty? Kevin Meyer. Is anyone else wondering why he's in street clothing and his hair and facial hair seem to be well groomed? Had one reply. I clicked on there to see what the reply was, but it was gone. They take comments down right and left on Midas Trash Network. And then somebody named Zero Jackson said, call Van Hollen and commend him for doing this and keeping his word, all in capital letters, with a blue heart. And the telephone number for Chris Van Hollen. Yeah, call him and congratulate him. 202, right? It's the Maryland Congressman. 224-4654. Yes. If you're from Maryland. Now, if you don't call to, if you're not one of the constituents. Where's my chats? Where'd they go? What happened to my chats? Oh, they're there. Miss Mendersu, how you doing? Roland, nice to see you. Gino, how you? So, Diane's here. All right. So, anyway, so that's what all the celebrating on Midas Trash Network is all about. Cup of coffee with a gang member, a sitting senator, while one of his own constituents lost their life. The mother, was grieving mother, he didn't even acknowledge her, and a U.S. Pastor was kidnapped. And how many hostages we have abroad? How many missing Americans are there in Afghanistan? All right, over in Hamas and Gaza and all. How many of those we still got missing U.S. citizens? Nobody said a word about. So Chris Van Hollen is making his bed. We'll see what these lunatics in Maryland, not the good people of Maryland. We got good people in Maryland, don't forget. But what are you all going to keep living like this? Subjecting us to this stuff? They got a cup of coffee there in front of them. Don't worry about that. AI overview of the Logan Act. The Logan Act is a United States federal law that makes it a crime for private citizens to engage in diplomacy with foreign governments without the express authority of the U.S. government. The purpose of the act is to prevent individuals from undermining the U.S. government's position in international relations. What do you think about that? It's federal law. I don't care if it's been rarely used. I don't care if it was passed in 1799. I don't give a damn. It's a law. There weren't people stupid enough to interfere with foreign relations and the U.S. government. That's why it's rarely used. But now we got people stupid enough to do it. They're doing it right now. It's very clear. But there's other points that key aspects of the Logan Act. Prohibition of private diplomacy. It prohibits U.S. citizens from engaging in communications with foreign governments. Okay, what else is it? Let me see. Let us see. Have to shrink that down. Move it over one. Oh, my goodness. I don't want to drop off. Oh, yeah, like Obama going ahead of Trump, right? Bush, how you doing? My chats are frozen. Oh, my word. That's all right. I'll keep going. This doesn't want to move. I am getting my feet wet with this stuff. I will have to go through the tedious exercise of creating a studio. But anyway, intent to influence foreign governments. The act targets actions taken with the intent to influence a foreign government's conduct in relation to disputes or controversies with the U.S. or to defeat U.S. policy. U.S. policy. Well, what is Van Hollen going to hang his hat on? The court said this, the court said that. The courts don't set U.S. policy. That is firmly in the corner of the President of the United States. That is a plenary and exclusive power to the President of the United States. But he should be arrested. But I don't believe he will be. I think they're showing their rear ends, and people are going to get outraged. Outraged. I'm outraged. And what would happen? What would happen with this current pack of federal judges, many of whom you can't pronounce their names? A lot of them, I don't know what the number is, weren't even born in this country. And they're serving on a federal bench. A finite number of people with an assumed ability and power that they have assumed. Any one of these finite numbers of 700 plus federal judges can stop the President of the United States in his tracks for weeks and months. Unheard of. It didn't start happening till 1963 was the first time a nationwide injunction was put out by a president. Remember we talked about that? Isn't that funny? The same year Kennedy got assassinated. No federal judge interfered with the President of the United States from 1963 to the founding of this nation. Why? Because they would have gotten removed. Why didn't they get removed? Because they chose to strike and set precedent when we were burying a president. A nation in shock. That's when they strike. If they had their way, this would be a nation in shock again. Is there a common thread when you think about Butler, Pennsylvania? When you think about hiding in the bushes at Mar-a-Lago? When you think of this kid, you hear about that kid that ended the lives of his own parents so he would have the money to make an attempt on Trump. Stole their car. credit cards. Finally got caught in Kansas. Where was he from? He's from way up north, wasn't he? I'm not. I have a report on it in my studio, but this episode that happened today at the school. Did you all watch the reporting on that? The students, I'm using finger air quotes, were all using, I would say similar terms, but no, they weren't. They were using identical terms. It was surreal. It was surreal. It was surreal. It was surreal. It was surreal, apparently. And they all were saying the same thing. Something needs to be done about the gun laws. No questions about who it was. No firm answer on how many people were involved. The first reports were that 5 people perished and 6 people were wounded. That there were 2 people involved, one who perished and one who survived wounded. That narrative went on for over an hour, repeated over and over and over again. And the same narrative got repeated again and again and again and again. The Florida legislature's meeting a mile up the road. Will they do something? That was the local news, television news. Will they take steps to control firearms? United, the reporters, the so-called students, they even interviewed over the phone students from another college, getting their, quote, opinion. And it all came back to surreal. It all came back to common sense gun laws. Why won't they do it? It's ridiculous. We're the only country that lives this way. Then it turns out, unfortunately, 2 people lost their lives. That's terrible. And 5 people were injured. That's the last I heard. And it was allegedly one person who is hospitalized with injuries, but expected to pull through. Yeah, shooter's mom is a deputy sheriff. Misspell that. Use zeros for me, KS, when you do that. Tennessee, how you doing? And wait, now, let me think about this. So I'm saying, well, they're all over the map about fatalities. How many people were involved? No description. Every single person that got on television, every single reporter, were blaming an inanimate object without a care in the world as to who did it. Why? When? How? Who? None of that. It's all the inanimate object's fault. We have to change our Bill of Rights. You know, we got to get the message out the way they do. We keep saying Second Amendment, Second Amendment, Second Amendment. We're talking to people who have no damn idea what the Second Amendment is. They don't even know what the First Amendment is. They can't count to Second Amendment. They can't spell it. But what is the Second Amendment? It's part of our Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights. Since the founding of our nation, it's been enshrined in the Constitution. Right? So that's the way I'm going to refer to it from now on. People want to trash the Bill of Rights that hasn't been touched in 250 years. What do you think of that, folks? No, I don't want to alter the Bill of Rights. I want the Bill of Rights the way it is. The way it is. I'm just seeing who I can't scroll through this chat. Okay. That's all right. I'll do my best. Okay, so anyway. When you see the actions of these judges, you see they're being used up like quivers, arrows in a quiver, arrows in a quiver. Every time you turn around with a Trump proclamation or executive order or action, they've got some goofball liberal judge with names you can't pronounce popping up out of the woodwork and putting temporary restraining orders and injunctions or whatever on the president. Is this all to flush out the judiciary, flesh it out and flush it? Because we have this goofball. Her name is Attnys with an X, okay? Xinis. Attnys. But she doesn't like that pronunciation. Like Kamala, you have to say it a different way than your education tells you to pronounce A, Kamala. No, you have to say Kamala. Kamala. No thanks. But anyway, she wants you to pronounce it. I forget. She doesn't want it to rhyme with the, this is what I heard. I don't know. Penis, okay? Whatever way you say it, do not make it rhyme with that word. So how whatever. I'll say, hey, you. But anyway, she is violating the Supreme Court order. She's recalcitrant in her upholding what the Supreme Court said to do. We've been over it ad nauseum. You probably watched Gavoya and Andrew Branco, hopefully. You have. But the bottom line is they cannot force the administration to effectuate a damn thing. Even Dopey Sotomayor said that. She said it may step on the powers of the presidency. But she could possibly have them effectuate. Facilitate. And that she should define, the court, they say, the court should define facilitate, which she has never done. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, she did. She grabbed a dictionary and read it out of Webster's dictionary, even though the term facilitate is a term of legal art that has different meaning under the law, rather than a generic everyday term as you'd see in Webster Dictionary. So she's being disingenuous. And she's also supposed to give deference, great deference, I say, to the powers of the executive branch. Well, she doesn't give a damn about that. Is she in bed with Chris Holland? And I don't mean the traditional way. I'm talking politically. I'm talking a coordinated effort to interfere with diplomatic relations with another country over a person who had no lawful right to be here. Boy, wouldn't that be something if they could find a nexus there? Wouldn't that be something if they could find a nexus? Hi, Jerry. Nice to see you. Jess and Bean. Nice to see you. Anyway, she's ordering depositions. She's, I don't know who she's going to order to be deposed. I don't know what the hell kind of questions she expects them to be answered. Why don't you just chit-chat with Senator Van Holland about this Father of the Year? But she's going to try to drag administration members in and build an impeachment trap for the president. Turns out that half those kids, I don't know how many she's got, 5, I think. 3 of them, I'm not sure of the numbers. I know it's a cluster. A cluster of children aren't even claimed to be Abrego Garcias. They're Kilmar Abrego Garcia. They're the child of another man, supposedly, and he probably is not even 100% sure. But the other, what's the vernacular they use nowadays? Baby daddy baby or something like the other one, he put in a motion to get custody of his children from the mother because of her, I guess, her associations, for one thing, with an illegal immigrant gang member that beat her up multiple times, according to her own testimony, her own affidavit. Drew blood. You know, if you hit somebody and draw blood, that's a felony. You know, smack them beside the head is one thing. But whenever you break the skin, and he caused her to bleed. He took off in a car with his 1-year-old in the car, driving crazy. She wrote that in her affidavit. So anyway, what's going to come out of this? We're going to live in a world where the president's relationships with other governments, you can have Ilhan Omar go down and demand something and stomp around another country in the name of the United States, or Rashida Tlaib, or Occasional Cortex, all running around trying to influence foreign policy. I don't think we would survive something like that. What do you think, folks? Even though it would be, wow, what an explosion to do something with this Van Holland character, we got to do like Barney Fife said. What did Barney Fife say, folks? I've said it before. Those of you who have been around me. Andy, we got to nip it, nip it, nip it. Barney Fife. Maybe demand that the Senate take action over his behaviors. Or just keep it out in the public eye. We all know what Sun Tzu said, don't interfere with the enemy when he's destroying himself. It's outrage to probably 90% of Americans to see this, especially after that mother. And if people would put the word out about this pastor who was brutally abducted and rescued under gunfire. You know, word probably got to Trump about an American pastor being kidnapped in South Africa. He probably picked up that phone and blew the receiver off on the other end, telling him, you better do something. So anyway, I'm sure there's a process in mind for these people. Are we going to just rack up a scorecard like with Zenas? This is the way she doesn't want you to pronounce it. Zenas. That's the way I'm going to call her. Zenas. She put out this order to depose, disrupt high-level members of the administration, to continue to make a public spectacle and cause vitriol and division in the body politic over a criminal that no matter what they do, he is going to be in that jail till Bukele says otherwise. Even if they brought him back to stamp that piece of paper that they're complaining about that got stamped after the plane left, it doesn't, I'll get into that. It's called harmless error. Harmless error. Doesn't change the outcome. This is what she's choosing to do. To raid the executive branch and to compel executive officers to dance to her tune for no purpose other than to create a spectacle and controversy, foment hostility and division. I'm sure whatever necessary terms need to be employed when dealing with this subversive, that they're going over it. But the Trump administration appealed to the Maryland appellate court. And you figure, well, you look at the issues, there's no way that guy can reside in this country under the existing law. There's no way to say, oh, we're bad people, come back and live here, like Chris Holland said, or whatever his name, Chris Van Hollen. You're home now. There ain't no such thing. The appellate court denied the Trump administration that said, don't uphold her order to pester high-level people in the administration. We've got work to do, and we don't have time to waste. They said, oh, no, the appellate court, we have to stand up for the rule of law. Are you out of your damn minds? These people are insane. There's one guy on the court who the last time around concurred with the Trump administration that they can't compel Trump to do anything. And the other two were, of course, thinking that we run this country through lunatic judges. And if you don't like the outcome, you go shop around for another till you get the ruling you want. That's the way they think this country's got to run. Andrew Weissman government, right? Adam Schiff government. Just a political Politburo. But this Reagan judge, this time around, my God, he's got to be in his upper 80s. He folded like a cheap chair and said, oh, get all this splendiferous talk about how wonderful Judge Zenas was and how the rule of law has to be upheld. So they have to appeal to the Supreme Court. And what I've noticed is, I've noticed the term used by different attorneys about, like, facilitate being a term of art. I've noticed that the administration doesn't have all their wagons lined up. They're trying to explain the same thing, but you have different people explaining things. This is the same thing in different ways. For example, Pam Bondi will explain things one way and get the same result. Steve Miller will explain the same thing, come to the same conclusion, same result, but he'll explain it in a different way. And people get confused. They have to get concise and coordinated with their verbiage, because that's what the left does. Surreal, common sense gun laws. Over and over and over again, same words, different mouths. So that's the kind of thing they have to practice. Now, I know a lot of people, when they look at this Judge Zenas and this Logan Garcia, they just tired of arguing about it. He was here, ordered gone years ago, evaded his deportation, claimed he was persecuted by another gang. That gang doesn't exist anymore. That point is moot. He's still got to go. Now he's MS-13 designated. Definitely got to go. Definitely got to go 6 years ago. And then all the stuff is coming out about his violent behavior, his involvement with gangs, his situation with drugs, his human trafficking. All this crap is coming up. Well, when they go to the Supreme Court, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. This business about an attorney that Steve Miller called subversive, who put a poison pill in that everybody's still got in their mouths. The appellate courts got it in their mouth. Sotomayor's got it in her mouth. Judge Zenas got it in her mouth. What is the poison pill? The poison pill is when this hack prosecutor, holdover, lefty, was representing the government, he claimed that Garcia was wrongfully deported by a clerical error. Steve Miller explained very clearly that with the new designation, gang affiliation, with his avoidance of past deportation, that exemption does not exist. So there's a term in law, contract law, and I've said before, you learn contract law, you learn a lot about the law. It's called mutual mistake. You make a mutual mistake. The lawyer who claimed he was wrongfully deported was mistaken. He'd been before 2 judges. He's had his due process. He had a hold on going to Venezuela, but not a hold on getting the heck out of this country. Now, 6 years ago. But once you get designated MS-13, once you evade deportation, that exception is moot, no longer, automatically gone. You don't need to stamp a piece of paper. So he made a mistake. That, be nice to him. You don't have to say what I feel is the truth. He's a lefty, pro-immigrant, illegal immigrant, holdover attorney that was supposed to be working for the interests of the Trump administration, and he dropped the ball. And I feel he did it on purpose. And he put the poison pill in everybody's mouth. Zinnis is repeating that mistake. In her orders, she is writing the same error, repeating it. So it's a mutual mistake. Even Sotomayor repeating that he was wrongfully deported is part of the mutual mistake. But wait a minute, there's another thing that they can talk about. They get on board with mutual mistake. Pam Bondi, Stephen Miller, people talking to the press, that was a mutual mistake. Get Judge Zinnis off the hook. As far as public perception, that way it's like, no. The good judge made a mutual mistake because of this attorney. Oh, good, okay. The other one is called harmless error. Well, they didn't sign that piece of paper because all they had to do, according to Pam Bondi, was sign one piece of paper and nobody could have said nothing. Get on a plane out of here. But they did it after he left. The point of the matter is, if they brought him back, if Van Hollen brought him back, he would go into custody, go before a judge. They'd show him, here, the piece of paper is done. They'd put his ass on a plane, and he'd be back exactly where he was, in CCOT. So the error, the harmless error, if it hadn't occurred, the end result would be he'd be where he is. If it was a mistake not signing that piece of paper, it was a harmless mistake, the outcome is the same. So you got two principles they can work on and get their heads right. Mutual mistake and harmless error. I know this kind of minutia a lot of people don't like. Oh my. There we go. I agree, Roland. I don't know. It's hard to see, for me to see, says he. One thing that Bukele can do, I'm not saying he's going to do it. I'm saying it's a arrow in his quiver is to not give an entry visa for Van Hollen again. Say, look, you achieved your purposes. We feel you're here causing discord, and you don't have the approval of your government, so we're not going to allow you entry, because when you come here, you cause trouble. No entry visa. And not even let him get out of the airport. Him or his cadre. You don't have permission to be here. Now you're illegal. Well, we're going to stay here until, okay, we'll sleep on the plane then, because you're not getting in out of the airport. Security will stop you. That's what I do if you kept causing trouble. I tell any of them, if you're coming here over the Garcia situation, you better have what they call them, a letter of marque, a permission from your government, some sort of documentation that you are part of an authorized diplomatic mission. And if you're not, you can't come in. You can't come in here. Now, if you're going to go down to the beach, fart around, fine. Go down to the beach, look for seashells. Keep your mouth shut about Garcia. If not, get out of here. Ah, my chats are frozen. Cory Booker, Diane said. Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. They're showboaters. Let me see if I can get these chats unfrozen. I can't get them to move. I can't get them to move. But that's what I do. Deny him an entry visa. For starters. Now, the Logan Act, it goes on to say enforcement is rare. While the Logan Act has been on books since 1799, it has rarely been enforced. Now, get this propaganda. Only 2 individuals have been prosecuted under the law. Neither case resulted in a conviction. Talking about one of them I know of, and you all know too, is called General Flynn. I got a message from General Flynn. I'll read you all in a minute. Hold on a second, folks. Let me see what's going on here. Let's see. Current debates. The Logan Act has recently been the subject of debate in connection with former President Donald Trump's communications with foreign leaders, including Vladimir Putin. This is on Goggle. There was no communications with foreign leaders, well, Vladimir Putin. Flynn got in trouble for communicating with an ambassador, allegedly. Critics argue that his post-presidency communications with foreign leaders may have violated the act. Oh, they're trying to put Trump on the defensive. When have they not? Well, you had a president who didn't even know he was president, an auto pen running the country. Are these chats moving good for you guys? I don't know. I can't see them moving. So anyway, that is that for the Logan Act. For now, I want to find that message I had from General Flynn, since we're talking about him as in the context of the Logan Act. Let me see what I got. I don't want to mess this up. I got some kind of notification, but I don't want to try to look at it because I could cause myself problems. Fall out of the chats. Fall out of the... Oh, where did you go? Well, anyway, General Flynn did put out a message, and it's rather lengthy. Basically telling everybody, oh, I know where it's at. It's in this folder here. Oh, those are 2 videos. I wonder if I could play those on here. I don't know. Let me see. No, I don't want to risk it. I'll have to do a test broadcast where I see if I can import a video onto the screen that you're watching. I wonder if I could leave the chats up and do that too. I appreciate y'all's patience with me learning how to do this stuff. Oh my gosh. Ha ha. Holy cow. Let me make sure I'm still on here. I haven't seen the chats move. Let me take the chats out and put them back in. Are they moving on your all screen? Let me try this way. There. Ah. Okay, you're right, sissy. They were froze up. Remember, think mirror. I see old chats. I saw Flynn's news. Hi, sis. Hi, Miss Minsuin. Yeah, all right. They're moving now. I don't know why it froze up like that. Because, should I do it? I might try it another way when I come back on the screen. We shall see. I'll show you all what I can do. Yeah, maybe. Let's hope. All right. Here I am meandering about on the screen. Here we go. I have devoted my life to defending this nation. This is General Flynn. On both battlefields abroad and in the halls of power at home, I have witnessed enemies, both foreign and domestic, but none are as insidious as those who have infiltrated our institutions, twisted the truth, and betrayed the American people. You know who I'm talking about. Oh, we do. The question that burns in the heart of every patriot is this: when will those who have committed crimes against our state finally be held accountable? I didn't know how much room I had in the... let me pull this back up again. There we go. Hi, Gary. How you doing? I didn't know how much room I had in my title, but I put attorneys, I put colleges, I put judges, I put Congress, and I put media. And I didn't think I had enough room, but just bureaucrats in general. They're everywhere. And that's what General Flynn's talking about. To me, if this attorney that knowingly put that poison pill in at the very beginning of Garcia's hearing, if he did that on purpose and coordinated with someone else to create a national incident, he should be held accountable, along with Judge Zenas. But anyway, the deep state has been playing a shadowy game for far too long, Flynn goes on to say. From manipulated narratives to weaponized agencies, they have trampled on our Constitution, scorned our values, and laughed as we demand justice. Yeah, they laugh in our faces. They believe they are untouchable and think we will roll over. But here's the truth. The American spirit does not break easily. He goes on. Accountability is coming, not because politicians promise it, but truth has a way of surfacing. However, here's the truth. Justice isn't a spectator sport. It won't happen just because we wish for it. Yeah, Benjamin said refresh and reconnect to the live stream. I might put my chats on the other side. I'll see. Wait, I want to get back to General Flynn. Then I'll play around. I'll play with the chat, see what I can do, and not kick myself off the broadcast. It won't just happen because we wish for it. The system is rigged to protect itself. It always has been. Just look at history. Traitors and criminals often escape punishment unless the people demand change. That's where we come in. We must push, expose, and share every conversation, every shared post, and every chance we get. Chip away at their armor. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm still here because I believe in you, us, and America. The timing. No one has a crystal ball. It could be tomorrow, or it could be next year. But mark my words, the longer they evade accountability, the harder the fall will be. That was what I was going to put in my title. The harder the fall. And I might use that tomorrow. I don't know. And we've always been saying it's going to be a long haul. He goes on to say, there is a way the universe balances the scales, and the truth does not stay buried forever. Remember what the Bible says. What lays in the dark will come to light. That's the way, old country way, a friend of mine, his father used to say it. What lays in the dark will be coming out of the light in the end. What lays in the dark. I say, yes, sir. Don't let them gaslight you into silence. Support those seeking the truth. Whistleblowers, citizen journalists, and those brave enough to stand against the establishment. And never stop asking, where is the accountability? Keep the faith and keep fighting. America is worth it. Thank you, General Flynn. So, let me see if I can play with these chats. All right, let me try this. Here we go. Now, I can take these chats, put them here. Wait a minute. Yeah, there. What do you think of that? I got 2 sets of chats. And look here. Can you all see? Oh, let me see. Yeah, look at there. I can go back a little bit. Bill, how you doing, Bill? Brent. Brent said, we've been played. Oh, keep the faith, Brent. We've not yet begun to fight. That's what Mr. T, one of his quotes. I have not yet begun to fight. There are those that hear and know the truth. And there are those that don't want to hear it. That's right. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to exercise their brains enough. They want to take the simple answer that is false over a difficult truth. Simple falsehoods are easy to repeat in nursery rhyme cadences. And that's what they go for. Let me jump over the creek. Wait a minute. I think I could jump over the creek. Oh, gosh, no, I can't. Well, let me see. I might be able to. I want to jump across the creek. Excuse me, how do I jump across the creek? Okay. Phew, I got my big toe wet. Ha ha! What do you think of that? Which side of the creek do y'all like me on? For those of you who have not seen my self-portrait, that's me with my corncob pipe, my jug of moonshine, my hat with a bullet hole in it, and my blunderbuss. Ha ha ha! There, now we can see. Now the chats on that I can move are updated quicker than the ones that will stay on the screen after the live stream. Most of the people that are hanging in with me are my diehard friends. My mountaineer crowd from way back, and the ones who want to see pictures and tell jokes. And I decided sometimes I don't want to sit around playing videos everybody else is playing, and I sit here and watch them play. And I break my back to build a studio up. And I'd say, I didn't even get to say what I wanted to say. But it appears to me that General Flynn is on the same page as all of us. We've got all these infiltrators, all these subversive elements, and they're in all the areas that I just spoke about. Trump is withholding Harvard's money. Not Harvard's money. He's withholding our money from Harvard, $2.7 billion, right? Why? Because they practice DEI, because they break federal law, because they have racist practices. And they're going to fight that in court. Who knew that we were going to be this effective, right? With the Judiciary. That they would just even get to the point where they make up the notion, like Zenas did. She said, the court upheld me. The court says you have to do this and have to do that. What I say? When a reasonable reading of that convoluted garbage Sotomayor put out, but even, though it was convoluted, to a child, it would be difficult to understand, but to a logical brain, it says your order to effectuate is vacated, and your order to facilitate, you have to define the word to the administration, and they can assist where they can. That is up to the president to decide where they can assist. But she's saying, I won 9-0. No, you didn't. You lost 9-0. You can't tell the administration what to do. But now she's going to order subordinate members of the administration in for depositions. And somebody got to that old Reagan judge and had him write this appellate decision saying she could waste everybody and their brother's time. And at the same time, and I believe it's coordinated, you got Van Hollen going over there, making a jerk out of himself. And it's interesting that Bukele let this character out of CCOT. But I'm thinking about that. What kind of message does that send to the world? Even the lunatics on Midas Touch Network were saying, well, he doesn't look that bad. That maybe it's not the hellhole. It's an unpleasant place. But like I said before, so is boot camp. So is the battlefield. So is the foxhole. But anyway, they're showing that they're reasonable. They're reasonable. He can't use the rhetoric of these people have been disappeared. They've been disappeared. Creepy. It could happen to you. You'll never be seen again. Is he alive or dead? Well, I think Bukele did a pretty smart move. You want to sit down and break bread with this criminal trash, Senator Van Hollen? You want a photo op of you having coffee with some street hood? You got it, baby. So what can the left say now? We know we he's we want proof of life. They were all saying, oh, kind of like acting he's hanging from his heels in some dungeon. Not even alive. No, there he is sitting in the ball cap. Belly sticking out underneath the table. Looking at a senator with his mouth hanging open. Then you got Bozo Berg. He wants to hold members of the Trump administration in criminal contempt. He's going to be ordering top administration officials around. I guess they're trying to pull an Engoron or a Mercan instead of the president carrying out his duties and having his subordinates do what they're supposed to do, which is effectuate the wishes of the president. They're going to put him in the courtroom all day. They're going to have homework. Your homework is to go home and write a 10-page document on what you've done to comply with my orders. And when I read it, it better be right, or you could be held in criminal contempt. So that's Judge Zenas and Judge Boasberg. Ha! Gary gave a boom. Sissy said, Gary, boom, boom. Miracle. That's right. I'm going to get a picture of William Shatner. You know, people used to tell me a long time ago, I got one of those faces, right? You can't tell with a beard, but I got one of those faces. Two people would stare at me. I say, what's going on? You look like, they would either say William Shatner or Paul Reiser, depending on how much weight I put on or took off. When I was thinner, they say I look like Paul Reiser. Well, if I got a little winter chub, I was Captain Kirk. Now I look like the old bloated Captain Kirk. No Paul Reiser. So I got one of them faces. I'm going to get a picture of William Shatner right when he's hollering, come, and figure out how to put it on the screen when I say, come. You know what happened with Khan at the end. Your comments are making through. I should have two chats on the screen, Pappy Two Bears. Do you guys see two sets of chats on the screen? Because when you're live, when I'm live, I have chats I can look at and move around. See me moving them? See how I'm moving them? And then on the other side of the screen, you should be able to see these fancy chats where everybody's names are in different colors. Yeah, Gary says, I'm seeing double. Aha. Now, in the replay, you'll just see the fancy ones where everybody's names are in different colors. The chats I can move around a little bit won't show up. I don't know. I'll get it to where I can play videos on here. I want to get it to where my little picture man, his mouth can move and his eyes can blink. And where I can put a video up. I can put a picture show, a limited picture show, and a video. Sissy likes this setup. Ha, ha, ha. But I don't got that many people viewing it. That's when I have a picture show. I'll do a little of both. I I wanted to that White House meeting today. Did you all get to see? Did you all get to see Trump meeting with the people from Hawaii, American Samoa, and Maine? What a nice White House meeting that was. He signed more executive orders. Justin Bean says, I like this because I can go full screen and still see the chat. Okay, well, I don't know what chat. I got two different sets on the screen. I don't know. If I have pictures, I have to figure out what to do about all that stuff. And I'm an old man. You know, I remember my parents. They had trouble with two things. Never could figure it out. And I thought, man, why can't they figure it out? Now, young people look at me and go, and I'm messing around with this high dollar computer stuff, and they say, why can't he figure it out? But what my parents couldn't figure out, or didn't want to figure out, I think, more than anything else, was how to set the clock on the microwave and the VCR. You sit there watching TV and the VCR clock would be flashing, and they wouldn't bother them one bit. And the other thing they couldn't figure out, remember answering machines? An answering machine. You come home, the light would be flashing. Mom, did you get my message? What message? I left you a message. I don't know. You hit the button. Hi, Mom, it's me. I'll be an hour late. Beep. And then you hear the tape rewind. What the hell you got that for? Why didn't you just call me back if I didn't answer the phone? You remember that, folks. And caller ID, forget about it. What do I want that for? Well, so you know who's calling. You might miss a call. Well, if it's important, they'll call back. What a simpler life. But now, who texted me? Who called me? What am I doing? I got to read something on the screen. Oh, wow. Middle of the night. You got pictures of text messages floating in your eyeballs while you're sleeping. I'm going to go back to that. I said I made a point of leaving my phone at home when I go out into the big city. All they do is track you anyway. So, anyway, this meeting at the White House was cool. And he met with fishermen from Alaska, Maine, Hawaii, American Samoa, right? And I still got an answer machine too, Pappy Two Bears, with the cassette tapes. People buy that stuff on eBay. People that like older technology. I used to have overhead projectors. I used to have those, what were they, 8mm movie projectors. I still got one. I got the whole series of Star Trek from the 1960s. I got the whole, every episode of every season on beta. Beta. I had somebody threw out a beta machine I had different properties I had in storage at one price. So why'd you throw that out for? Because no tapes would fit in it. It wasn't a VCR. It was a beta, you idiot. What are you doing throwing out things that don't belong to you? I had a beta, Jersey Joe. I had two beta machines. One of them didn't work. I was going to fix it, and the other one worked. And I had all the TV series box set. I still got that of Star Trek from 1963 or whatever it was, on through, on beta. Yeah, some William Shatner overload. Yeah, I can't. But anyway, and this is they were having good conversations, and Trump was like, "I find this very interesting." And I tell you all that I watch Asmongold sometimes. He's all right, but you know what? I get the temperature of younger people by watching somebody like him. I've told you I haven't done it in a long time, but I watch Tim Pool to see what these younger people are thinking. Sticks, Hex and Hammer, I watch him. I haven't watched him in a while. And Asmongold. And I said, you know, well, he plays a lot of video games, but when he pays attention to a subject, he has good basic instincts, good basic logic. And he also worked for the government, federal government. So he is in an unusual position where he knows what a joke a federal job is. And he knows about the waste. And so I don't think a person comparable in his age that didn't have that experience would come to the same conclusions. But he's okay to listen to and get his critique. He doesn't have TDS. And he says stupid things sometimes. Like today, Trump was talking, and somebody said something about, well, we're in this Holy Week. And he was doing a reaction video. He said, is she talking about Easter? What do you think she's talking about? By the way, happy Easter, folks. Tomorrow's Good Friday, right? So, anyway, another streamer was doing, the report was playing, and they said, even though Vietnam is a communist regime, they were talking about the Trump tariffs. And Asmon said, they're communist? Are you sure? I'm not sure. And he's asking in chat, is Vietnam communist? And you know what? That burns me up. Not him as a person, but he's not unusual in being that ignorant about history. He doesn't know anything about Hanoi Jane. He doesn't know anything. If he was to say that in front of a Vietnam vet, he'd probably get a little bit of a cussing. What do you mean, are they communists? Especially a POW. So it's stuff like that that just shows that the education system keeps them stupid so they can try to mold their brains into whatever they can. That's why Trump said what he said about Harvard. Everyone knows that Harvard has, quote, lost its way. I read that the other night. Harvard is a joke, teaches hate and stupidity, and should no longer receive federal funds. And to the point that we have got, what I heard the last week, Gen Z, I guess that's the latest ones, are conservative. Like they did a U-turn. They reject trannyism. They reject communism, socialism. They're more conservative. They're looking back at these generations like Tim Pool, the ones that dabble around in this commie stuff. It's like, what are you, crazy? So that's encouraging that these young people are seeing through. And I credit that to natural law and instinct and our God-given gift of reason. I care about my little Sadie. You all know that. I've had dogs in the past. I care about them. But they can't reason. They can think. They can connive. Like say, I think she got fed twice tonight. She duped me. And she'll never admit it. I can talk like this because I know she's got a big fat belly and she's sleeping because she ate twice. But anyway, she can't reason. And that's the gift we have. And it's being proven out by this Gen Z crowd. Coming back to nature and reality. But anyway, Trump, did you hear about Luigi? I told you about that star. What's her name? I forget her name. She's not a star in my book. But fawning over Luigi. Well, he got some news today. Oh, boy. He's going to be looking at, I guess, the chair. The D penalty. Luigi Mangione is indicted on federal charges, one of which makes him eligible for the death penalty. 2 counts of stalking, firearms offense, and I would say one-time murder through the use of a firearm, a charge that makes him eligible for the ultimate penalty. So people that are fans like this, Taylor Lorenz, I believe her name was, they're going to have to come to grips with that. How are they going to handle that? Look how they're doing backflips over this character in Venezuela. What are they? They're going to go cuckoo over Luigi Mangione? What's the right thing to do? To have a celebrity sitting in jail for, outlive Elvis? And accolades, money, women sending him letters. You might have congressmen demanding to interview him. Have a cup of coffee with Luigi. What would happen then? Would you have who knows who shooting who knows who in the back? What's the story on this kid that went crazy in Florida today? I've heard 2 stories. I've heard that he was a lefty loon on one site, and then I heard on another site that he was a pro-Trump person. People are trying to get the misinformation out there. And if they can smear it on Trump, they will. What have you all heard? I have a picture of him, supposedly, somebody put up. I guess he's at this was on Twitter, somebody named Alec Lace, Lace. Breaking. FSU shooter was Phoenix Eichner, another left-wing lunatic with TDS. Democrats must condemn this violence and stop with their dangerous rhetoric immediately. So there's a picture of somebody holding up a sign that says, "Fight Trump and the GOP agenda. Stop attacks on immigrants. Stand with Palestine. Defend their women's rights." I'll save this photograph for when I do a picture show. But the image is small. It's hard to say whether that's him or not. The one picture I have I got from JLR Investigates. Many of you watch him. It's a picture of him from 20 years ago. 20 years ago. So the picture, the most recent one, looking like a pro-Hamas protester, it does look like an older version of the guy. And it is definitely pro-Hamas, pro-lefty cuckoo stuff. So that's the way I'm leaning till I get verification. But I'll tell you one thing. They sure did take their time, hours and hours. And he has nothing you can find about him on social media except that picture JLR found from 2004 and his mother's Facebook. His mother's Facebook. Can you say scrubbing social media? Did he publish some treatise or manifesto on his political beliefs that they don't want us to see? And by they, you know, it ain't the Trump people hiding it. Oh, it's a service weapon? Yeah, on one side I got, way to go, Sadie. Yeah, these chats are freezing up. I don't know if I'm supposed to do it this way. I don't know if it's set up for it to function properly. Let me take that down and put it back up again, see if it refreshes. Ah, there we go. Mental problems, I heard. Yeah. Federally indicted today. So, anyway, a lot can change in 20 years, especially with young people. Anyway, folks, I was really interested. I took a couple of notes about that Trump meeting in the Oval Office that happened today, and I'm thinking all this stuff is going on. He did make a statement that it was a horrible thing that happened. The other narrative the media was pushing, they kept bashing thoughts and prayers. Here we are. In the Holy Week, you know, thoughts and prayers aren't good enough. We're tired of your thoughts and prayers over and over and over again. Well, somebody should have been giving thoughts and prayers to that boy. It's probably something he was missing in his life. So Trump made a statement about the what happened at FSU. And then he went on to meet with these fishermen. And they were bringing up the fact that they have to travel sometimes over 4 days to get to where they can legally fish, thanks to Obama and Biden. And the waters that they have to cross and they're forbidden to fish in, other countries can go ahead and fish. They brought up that people in Maine can't fish past the 200-mile international waters. But China can, if they wanted to. Canada can't. So all these countries that can are eating Maine lobster. And the people in Maine can't hardly get it. It's just not halfway worth it. Same with salmon. They were saying in Hawaii, swordfish, albacore, salmon, all these restrictions were put on, crippling the industry in Hawaii. And after Trump signed the executive order, letting them fish in the same areas that other countries are allowed to fish. They sang a nice native song for him. Did you all see that? That was really, really nice. And Hawaii and American Samoa, the guy from American Samoa was talking about China. He said it really burns you up. You look out, you can see them out there. You can see all these Chinese boats, Filipino boats, Taiwanese boats. Everybody's out there fishing, and we can't. We got to go way out from where they're before we are in legal waters, according to the Biden administration. And Trump said, well, I'm going to put a stop to that. Starting today, you can go right out there where everybody else is and have a big old time. And he said, well, Trump said, how's things going over there in American Samoa? And he said, I would say 77%, I think he said was the polling. People are for you, President Trump. He said, really? That much? He said, yeah. He said, after today, I think it's going to go to 90%. And Trump put out a statement about American Samoa today. And you know what? It was a message to Greenland. If you think about it. American Samoa is a U.S. territory, right? So I wonder if I've got that. Oh, the print's so small. But if you, oh gosh, it took me out of the studio. Anyway, it gave a little history of American Samoa, how good their economy's going because of America, how cherished they are by America, and that he was going to help, I guess, make Samoa great again, American Samoa great again, by helping out with the fishing and stuff. And you're looking at 3/4 of the people are happy. What kind of message is that going to send to Greenland? When it comes time for them, you want to keep with the Danish people? You probably haven't seen a Danish person in 50 years. Your kids probably never laid eyes on one of them. You want to get on with the American system? Because we need to build some prisons there, and we're going to pay the guards very well. Because we got a lot of them. Bukele is doubling the capacity for his prison. Did you hear that news today? But we're still going to need more. Because it's like what I put in my title and what General Flynn said. We got people, foreign and domestic, that have harmed this country need to pay. We got to put them somewhere. Yeah, one chat's just moving slower, yeah. One chat is going to stay on the screen. But I've been up for a while. I'm going to ask y'all, did you hear what Trump said toward the end of his press conference? He signed the executive order and he said, this is why I have to stay president for a long time. And he put a big old smile on his face. It'd be interesting to see how many news services caught that. I might get a clip of that. This is why I need to stay president for a long time. Because we talked about how brief it is, 48 months. That's not a long time. So something's in the works. I believe I know what it is, but I don't want to jinx it. I'll spill the beans one night. Anyway, folks, it looks like the general public does not like this format. There are not a lot of people hanging in there, but you all have been hanging in there, and that's what counts, right? And I want to thank Gary for going by buy me a coffee. Hey, wait a minute. Do I have special effects on here? Wait a minute. I don't see the button for them. Daggone it. I wanted to set some fireworks off. Let me move this over here and see if I have a button. I do. I don't want to blow myself up. Pow! Pow! Thanks, Gary, for going by buy me a coffee. Pow! I blew my elbow off my shirt. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. They're shooting mortars at bang. Wait a minute, let me get my blunderbuss because there's going to be a bird flying. Oh, I get that bird. Anyway, thank you, Gary, for going by me a coffee. Let me put my chats back over here. Wait a minute, how do I do that? Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. I screwed things up, didn't I? Yeah, no, wow, what did I do? I got rid of my chats. Video only. Wait a minute. You like the new do, Miss Mendersue? I don't know how to move my chats back now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You got to play with this. Ah, ha, ha, ha. There we go. What do you think of that? All right. I'm getting the hang of it. I didn't get kicked off one time. Oh, yeah. Letitia James. Oh, we got them all on the ropes. Letitia James, Fannie Willis. This Van Holland's not going to get away with this. So anyway, folks, I'll be going live tomorrow night. I see if I do a picture show. I will try to practice with this. It's time consuming though. I don't know if I might do just a regular picture show tomorrow, or just a blue screen with the yellow talking head. The world is our oyster, my oyster, your oyster. I can do whatever I want. So anyway, folks, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. And I'll be going live tomorrow night. I hope you all remember to give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, why don't you help me out? Hi, Rebecca. Jackie. Yeah, Adam Shifty Schiff. Oh, yeah. All right. We'll watch it all. We're here to watch the show. Because another thing Trump said. He said, we've got plenty of time. We have plenty of time. He was talking about the TikTok deal and coming to some kind of deal with China on tariffs. And they were asking the usual gotcha questions and stuff. And he was cool as a cucumber. He was so cool, he had change for an ice cube. And he said, we got plenty of time. So they're trying to read them. Good luck with them. But anyway, folks, you all have a great night. And I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.